Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Book Readers Talks. Today, we have with us an enthusiastic youngster, Gauresh. He will talk about his passion for book reading. Gauresh is an engineering student and soon will be a published author. Hi, Gauresh.
Hello, ma'am.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, happy to be here.
Thank you. So, I would like to start by asking you about your habit for reading. How did it all begin?
So I come from a small town in from Ahmednagar. So when I was a young boy there, I didn't have a lot of availability for reading. But my elder brother, he used to study in Pune. So whenever he came home, he used to bring back home like books. He used to buy from key for kilo, like 100 200 rupees per kilo. Like he used to buy books, and like in those books, I found Harry Potter's Chamber of Secrets and Prison of Azkaban. And like I used to
Okay.
read anything, but like from then I fell in love with reading. So I found J.K. Rowling there, and then
Oh,
Hardy Boys, Enid Blyton, those kind of. And
wow.
then
That's such a wide variety.
yeah, for you, the way I read, the way I read Harry Potter, I first read
Mhm.
Prison of Azkaban, then Chamber of Secrets.
Oh,
My reading was a lot messed up. Like after that, Order of the Phoenix, because I didn't have the books to read in order. I read
right.
what I could get my hands on.
Thanks to your brother.
Yeah, my brother is the reason I read a lot now.
That's great. Do you recall a specific book or a moment which sparked your interest?
Um, that would be Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Okay.
Like those books got me into reading a lot. Like even after that, I read children books for a long time, and like I got into series with Enid Blyton, the famous five, the five find outers and all. Like those series are still some of my most cherished memories.
Oh, great. That is great to know. What genres of books do you like to read?
I like to read like a wide variety of genre. Uh,
Mhm.
like science fiction is one of my most loved genres for books and for movies. And nowadays I'm into classics a lot. I'm reading a lot of
Okay.
classics,
Mhm.
which has been a very new and amazing experience for me. And
That's
then
true.
adventure, thrillers, and mysteries. Like Agatha Christie, she's one of my favorite authors.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah, that's a wide
Death
variety you're
Note.
reading.
Yeah, yes. I like to like jump from one type to another. And when I tell my friends about it, they are like, "You're crazy." Yes, and nowadays I'm just going on to read heavy book after another, like
Oh,
classics after classics, and but like, I like to do that, like stimulate myself to different
correct.
levels. Like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, this is very interesting.
I mean, like
So,
when I read this, the book I'm going to talk about, like Dune.
uh-huh.
When I read Dune, everyone was like, "Now take it a little chill after this book." But now I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo, like 1200 pages book.
Oh my God, you're great.
Thank you.
What role do books play in your life?
Um,
Like you said, stimulation is one I understood, but other than that,
like when I was young, I didn't have a
mm,
lot of friends, so but
mm,
like books were my entire life. I used to
okay.
read compulsively. I ended one book after another in a day. Eh, and
Oh,
near my
okay.
10th, my school had a library opened. So I used to take like three books on Saturday. And by Monday morning, I returned those three books because I'd read them all. And now, even though I don't have a lot of time, books still provide me with something like um, I, it began with an escape. Like I had stopped
Mhm.
reading for some time. It began as an
Okay.
escape through reality, but
Mhm.
now it's my life. I
Mhm.
am writing a book because it provides me with it helps my imagination. I like to live
Mhm.
in places that maybe real life cannot reach. As maybe
Yes.
I am an engineering student, so
Mhm.
it is my job to create new things. So
Mhm.
this might be different, but this stimulates my imagination. It increases it and like widens my scope.
Wow.
So
Such a nice answer, Gaurav. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am.
So, which book have you chosen today to talk about?
I've chosen the Great Dune trilogy.
My God. Okay.
It's
So,
that this is
uh,
my just finished it recently, and it is one
uh,
of the best things I've ever read. before
okay. Okay.
before reading it, I'd heard a lot of times that it's complicated and it has a dry language and different stuff about that. But after seeing the movies, I just had to read this, because I always
Absolutely.
have been a more of a book guy than movies and things stuff.
Then a movie. Okay.
Ah,
Okay.
so I got this, and when I started reading it, I felt that it was very, I don't know, unfairly judged. Yeah, it the
Mhm.
language is difficult, but it's so
Mhm.
beautiful. Like, I don't think it's dry at all. The flow of the
Okay.
language, the imagination, the way the science fiction elements have been portrayed, like it's really great. And the
Okay.
politics, the
Uh-huh.
mind games between all the characters, like that's what makes this one of the best written books ever.
Hmm. Yes, I think you enjoyed the intriguing plot. So, would you like to share it with us without
Yeah,
any spoilers, of course?
yeah, without spoilers. Uh,
Yes.
so in the Great Dune trilogy is three books:
Mhm.
Dune Messiah, and Children of
Okay.
Dune. So
Okay.
the first Dune follows the journey of Paul Atreides, from his hometown to Arrakis, from Caladan to
Mhm.
Arrakis, and there the way everything unfolds, because Arrakis has the spice. Whoever
Mhm.
rules Arrakis, who has control of that planet, rules spice, which is the most important, most precious thing in the entire universe.
Mhm.
And so the journey starts. There are different concepts like Bene Gesserits. They can predict some of the futures. They observe people's actions to the minutest, and they can understand things that normal people can't. There's a guild that controls all the flying through from one planet to others. So, like these are even more important than the emperor of the world. And so Paul's family is attacked, and but stuff takes place. And but then Paul, he is the Kwisatz Haderach. It's a concept that a person who can exist any time and every time everywhere. So means he can see his past, his ancestors, both the males and females, his entire ancestry. He can live the entire life in his memories. So just if we imagine the scope, which it is, like millennia that guy has lived. And after that, uh, when we start reading a book and we want the main character to be a good guy, because we always call him the protagonist. But Dune has no protagonist. No character from Dune is a good guy.
Is it? Okay. Uh-huh.
Is a good guy. Everyone has their own agenda. Everyone wants to
Okay.
do their own thing. Paul knows thousands of futures that can happen. Any action of his, he knows what will happen after that action. And that's the way he plays, because he knows what he has to do. The war he starts, I'll just tell you the scope of the war that happened in Dune.
Please.
after paul
Yes.
after Paul becomes, like, when Dune ends, he declares war upon the holy families and everything. And then Dune Messiah, the second book, starts directly 9 years later, after most of the war is done. So the about the war, not details are not given, but it is talked about, and that is even more scarier, because I'll read you one point. That one line I highlighted because it hit me so much. That shows the scope, how large we are talking about.
Yeah, right. Which is that
So
line?
here it is. So Paul is talking with one of his commanders, and he says, "Look up Genghis Khan. He killed perhaps 4 million people. Then there's another emperor I want you to note in passing, a Hitler. He killed more than 6 million. Pretty good for those days." And then statistics. At a conservative estimate, I have killed 61 billion, sterilized 90 planets, completely demoralized 500 others. I wiped out the followers of 40 religions which existed since the start of time.
My God.
So that is the scope of Dune.
This is huge. And yes, when you have read this, I understood now the scope of the plot and the whole thing. And that's why it's a trilogy, I think.
Yeah, and Paul is the main character for two books. Like the third mainly follows his children. They are like the children of Paul. They are the kind of kids who they are called abomination in the Dune universe, because before they were born, they had the memories and knowledge of everyone before them, all of their ancestors. Paul gained it eventually in his life, but they had it even before they were born, when they were in the mother's womb. And so it is feared that they might be taken control of by one of the memories, and how they play into Paul's plan.
Mm.
The entire Dune
Okay.
trilogy is a plan by Paul. Though in the third book he is not there for the most time, it
Oh,
is if you understand it, it is entirely a structured plan that Paul had planned. And after doing what he had to do, he disappeared because he knew he had done what he had to do, and everything then took place how he intended. But the Tune, if you, it is one of my favorite books, the best thing I've read. But still, I wouldn't
okay.
recommend it to most people because it is too complicated and too
Mm,
vast. I mean,
mm.
not everyone will have have the imagination to imagine the immense size of the thing that goes are going on.
Yes.
Children of Dune, it's that the normal scenes are going on between the children, the other, all of the other characters, the interactions, but with their conversations, they imply everything that has been going on. The entire planning they're thinking of, like there are mentats who are human computers.
Oh, okay.
They obtain data from people and they compute everything it means, everything it will that might happen, all of those. And the conversations that happen, the philosophical terms, the politics, it's too vast, and you have to actually think about it a long time to understand. And in Children of Dune, time is explained so well. Like there are
Okay.
3 to 4 pages which have quantum dimensionality formula. It's explained for 3 to 4 pages. It's like I'm reading a physics book. And so, but this explanation of time helped me a lot because the book I'm working on, like it's a time
Mm.
travel thing. So like I had new ideas how I can incorporate time and explain it.
You're right. Yes. Yes, I think it fueled your imagination, this book,
Yeah,
probably.
a lot.
That's great. Yes. Are there any illustrations in the book? It just came to my mind to ask you.
No, not illustrations, but I did like in this copy I have. I did have a map of the planet Arrakis.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and
That's
like
interesting.
50
Yes.
to 60 pages in appendix, 4 appendices. So about the history of the planet before that, it was so interesting to read even after reading the entire book. And the map, like whenever a new place was introduced, I used to look over the entire map. So from where they traveled, what happened,
Mm.
and the distance. It helps to like create an imagination.
Yes, right. That's great. So with the map, you could plot the entire story in your mind. It
Yeah, yeah.
helps. Mm.
Yes, I actually like plotted from one corner to another and all. It was a lot of fun.
Wow, this is good. And so you mentioned a little bit about the language of the book, but is it worded or literary or simple language? How did you find it?
No, not simple at all. I
Okay,
like literary, yes, like
we would
the
say.
language
Okay.
we see in most like in classics. I
Hmm.
like that is the kind of language it has. Like
I
some
see.
pages it might be easier. Some pages you
Hmm.
have to read like 3 times before you fully grasp the meaning.
Oh, okay. Okay, so quite heavy, we can say,
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
is quite heavy, but it is rewarding. It is very rewarding.
Hmm. Okay,
Because
okay, that's
I
great.
talk with some friends. They say that they have read the first one, Dune, and after that they couldn't do it. And At first I wanted to blame them, but then I know myself, like it's hard to keep going on, but
Hmm.
at the same time it's fun. I know it's contradictory, but it's hard to read and still it's gripping.
It's fun, yes. So I think the language is also difficult, heavy, difficult, and also the plot. So maybe some people left it halfway.
Ah, yes. The
Yes. Huh.
language fits perfectly for the kind of story and the plot it is. Because it's like if I was to compare to rank Dune just on the list of sci-fi, I would
Mhm.
rank it maybe third or fourth place, like not the top, because it's
Mhm.
not just a science fiction book. The
Okay.
politics, the philosophy, the mind games,
Mhm.
the interactions of people, and all those things, that makes this something else. Like this is a piece of literature. I don't know why it isn't listed that usually in classics, because this is
Mhm.
a classic and one of the very best.
Okay.
Like for beginners, I do not recommend it.
Okay.
When I was
Okay.
in 10th, I like that at that time I was pretty much hardcore into sci-fi. So I
Huh.
online I read the first Dune and I
Hmm.
didn't grasp more than half of it, and I just left it away. But now
Oh.
I took it back and it was like amazing. Because maybe if you have read some classics, you have good grasp of the knowledge and the
Mhm.
language, then you should do Dune.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Can you tell us something about the author?
Um, so Frank Herbert, he wrote the six books. These are two trilogies. But
Mhm.
his actual plan was the first trilogy, then a fourth book, which would be connecting to the second trilogy. So he had planned for seven books. But by the
Oh.
end of the sixth book, he died, and he
Oh.
had planned
Okay.
for future books, but he died. So like he had the seventh book was cancelled, the six books, and after that his son Brian Herbert wrote like many
Hmm.
novels about the Dune universe.
Hmm.
About the universe, he wrote a lot of things. Like I think there are 26 total books about
Okay.
the universe, but
Hmm.
the original six about the author Frank, he wrote a couple, just a couple of books other than Dune.
Mhm.
Most of them were not that well known. He wrote for
Okay.
newspapers and magazines during his time,
I see.
1960s. But
Hmm.
because he was working on the entire universe of Dune, he wanted to create. Like
Hmm.
even the all the novels that his son has written, they
Hmm.
followed an outline which Frank had created.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
So and the if you read it, you will get an imagination how much a person has to plan, because things from the first book connect to the third book.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
As I say,
True.
entire it has time travel and it is all connected in some ways.
Connected, huh? While you were reading the book, which lines or quotes did you enjoy the most? Can you share them with us?
Yeah, I have a couple. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll show. Like one of the first is the fear, the litany of fear.
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
it is the Bene Gesserit. They like whenever they feel fear. This is the
Hmm.
litany they murmur to themselves, and the
Hmm.
fear is gone entirely.
Hmm.
So it is, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Oh, okay. Quite deep.
It's all like during conversations. The characters are talking about some politics, something, and between all of that, they just spit out some philosophical line that I sat and thought about for like half an hour.
Oh, like what are they saying? Like that.
And what does this
Right.
imply in the entire universe that they have painted? The universe which they have shown, it is so vast, and there are human computers in it. There are many different people with extraordinary abilities. People, some can see the future and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
So even in that, the mechanics of life are different than the ones in our life in reality.
Oh, okay.
But still the
Right.
philosophy that is being shown is so relatable. I mean, like this line, there is probably no more terrible instant of enlightenment than the one in which you discover your father is a man with human flesh.
Oh, okay.
Like Yeah, like it. These kinds of quotes give us an existential crisis.
Yes.
There was a statement
Uh,
which showed what can I say, like the politics which is taking place
mhm.
in our world, in our country, in everywhere else. Like
Okay.
that one statement made me think about the politics going on everywhere. So the line is, when religion
Mhm.
and politics travel in the same cart, the riders
Mhm.
believe nothing can stand in their way. Their movement becomes headlong, faster and faster and faster. They put aside all thoughts of obstacles and forget that a precipice does not show itself to the man in a blind rush until it's too late.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
It's quite heavy. Like there are a lot of quotes in the book like this. This book has to be read. Like many times I read the entire pages again because when I was sometimes like I was in a flow of reading, and after reading I was like just I don't remember the exact words, but I want to because the concept and the things talked about were too interesting, and I just
Mhm.
went on like this size of books normally takes me like 15 to 20 days, but I was on
Okay.
Dune for 1.5 months because I used to reread things and many things required time to be processed.
Hmm.
The
You're right.
implications of the entire world, it has to be thought because
Hmm.
the
Correct.
the size of the universe that has been created now, Herbert couldn't talk about everything and every detail.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there is more in between the lines for Dune. There is too much between the lines.
Too much. Huh?
This
Right.
is also a line just spitten out in normal conversation. It is,
Mhm.
what is justice? Two forces collide. Each may have the right in its own sphere. And here's where an emperor commands orderly solutions. Those collisions he cannot prevent, he solves.
Yes. Thank you for sharing all this, Gaurav, about your favorite book, The Dune. Do you find yourself rereading the books? I mean, apart from Dune, any other
Um,
books?
yes, Dune is a thing. I don't think I will be rereading for at least another year. I
Okay.
need some time. But yeah, I occasionally go back to the books I love.
Mm.
Where when I was younger, the books I read Harry Potter series, then the Game of Thrones series.
Oh,
Like
yes.
I've read Harry Potter for more than 5 times. Game of Thrones,
Oh,
like
is
those are
it?
1,000. Game of Thrones are 1,000 page books, and five those are 5 books. I've read all of them at least 2 times.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, and any book I love, I can get back into it and read it anytime. I love
Okay.
rereading books.
Okay. Okay. Nice. And does it happen to you that you started reading a book and just left it halfway, and even after many days, you could not complete the book? Does it happen to you?
Um, that has happened to me just once with Orlando.
Mhm. Okay.
Like the language too complex. Like I just left it at the last chapter. I read
Uh-huh.
through most of it, but I don't think I will be going back to it for a long time.
Hmm.
There are books that
Okay.
I might leave because I want to read different things, but sometime or other I do come back to it.
Okay.
I started Tom Sawyer
Hmm.
and I have read half of Tom Sawyer and I stopped. I don't know why. Something else came along, and I have not restarted it yet. But I
Hmm.
will. So I do not consider it DNF'd. I will
Ach-
reread it before the year ends. I will
yeah, you
complete it.
might read it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That was a lovely discussion, Gaurish. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And how is your book coming along? You are
Um.
soon to publish a book.
Yeah, I'm at 1,10,000 words. It's
Mhm.
the novel's nearly completed. Uh, I'm also like when I can't think of the words for the end, I sometimes like keep on my editing process.
Yes,
For a novel of 1 lakh words, there is a lot of editing to be done.
absolutely. Right. I mean, a lot of hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's rewarding because I love doing it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's why you're doing it. Great.
Yeah. I get lost in the world that I have created. Every things I
Mhm.
wanted to read or experience
Mhm.
from
Mhm.
books, but some things that I did not find, I create them myself and maybe provide it to other readers who want the same kind of stuff.
Correct. Yes. You're sharing your world with us. That's great.
Yeah.
So, all the best for your book. Hope to see it
Thank you,
soon.
ma'am. Yes.
Thank you so much for joining my show. And it was a lovely discussion.
Thank you, ma'am. It was my pleasure.
Hope to see you around with a new book.
Yes, you will.
Okay, then. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me in conversation with Gauresh. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with this youngster who is an avid reader and now soon to be a writer. See you soon in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.